Okay, and we're getting started. Thank you, my friends and gems, for being here tonight. We're going to get started here in a second. Dar, how do you say that last name? Hilty?
That's right. I'm going to put you on mute because I'm in the bathtub.
Okay, that sounds fine. We've got other people that are joining here now.
Okay.
So we're going to get started here in about 30 seconds. We've got another person that is joining us right now as well. Thank you, Dar. And I'll Tess Bunny, thank you. Welcome to our team. We're here to help and support you. So thank you for joining here today. Fantastic. So we're going to go ahead. I want to make sure that I answer any questions that you might have to get going here, and then we'll go ahead and I'll share with you a little bit more about this life-saving technology. Does that make sense? Great. And also, so that you know, we are broadcasting also to YouTube. So this will be available, the recording. You don't have to remember all of this. It'll be saved to YouTube, to my channel, so that you can, the replay will be posted in our Telegram groups for those of you who are already on Telegram. For those of you who are on YouTube or Facebook who are learning about this for the first time, you can join. We have a group for those of you who are not on the patches yet, that we can answer any of your questions until you're ready, provide you the help, the support, the education that you need. Once you get started on the patches, then we have another private group where you have access to all the doctors, the holistic care practitioners, all the library of testimonials and so forth are all there at just a fingertip away. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, do either Dar or Tess, do you have any questions at this moment? No? Okay, so let's get started. And we're going to talk tonight about the Fantastic Five. We have 11 different types of stem cell patches, but tonight we are just going to focus on the Fantastic Five. For those of you who want to just recap the mother stem cell activation patch, Monday through Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. I always do 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes we'll go an hour, but it's basically just on the first stem cell activation patch, which is the mother stem cell activation patch. Tonight, we're out of the 11 patches that we have, we're going to focus on the mother, the daughter, and then the 3 master antioxidants, glutathione, carnosine, and eon. Those take care of the primary systems of the body. Okay. And I hope you enjoy my little fella here. He's climbing up our DNA ladder. So we're going to start about the mother cell activation patch. And let's give our disclaimer, because we have a great relationship with the FDA. We want to keep it that way. And so the thing to note is that these patches are not intended to prevent or cure or treat any disease. We do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer any protocols. Suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. There are no medical claims that are being made here. Okay, with that being said, just like David Schmidt is not an MD who writes prescriptions, neither am I. I am a holistic care practitioner. I'm Dame Lillian Walker, and I am a poly-certified clinical neurosomatic practitioner. What I do is I repattern the brain from physical and emotional trauma, and I use this life-saving technology called a stem cell activation patch. No stem cells in this patch. We're only turning back on the ones that you already have in your body that have been dormant. We're turning them back on. And you're going to learn the science and technology and how that actually is possible. Does that make sense? Also, the FDA in the fall took a new position. They inspect us every 2 years. And they took the position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded now as drug claims. Or at least they said that until the 31st of December of 2023. And the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides such as GHKCU is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, they told us that until the 31st of 2023, we could say that although we have 90 clinical independent studies with double-blind placebos that were done in the United States, as well as Europe and Asia, 90 studies from all sorts of different universities, scientific labs, and so forth, as well as 120 global patents that prove that this is actually the fact. And we got through 82 governments, because this is available in 82 countries in the world. So apparently after the first of this year, We now can say this again, but I'm not 100% sure that all FDA agents are on the same page of music. So I'm still sharing this disclaimer just to be safe. So this technology is possible because Dr. Lauren Picard discovered that GHKCU copper peptide activated a third, that's 33%, of previously dormant stem cells, turning your genes to a younger, healthier state. So that makes us ask the question, what are stem cells? A lot of people have never heard of stem cells until recently. Dr. Stacy says they're the holy grail of healing, and they are actually pluripotent cells. Pluripotent simply means plural. The word plural is at the root of pluri, potent, potentials, so it's many potentials. Your original master smart cells, that's what stem cells are, the master stem cells that were there at conception. And they have all of the programming required to take you from conception all the way to that timeline that takes you to your very last breath, your entire lifespan. And when your mother's ovum united with your father's sperm at conception, you now have complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells to begin to form you in your mother's womb and grow you into an embryo. 36 to 40 weeks later, you're a fully formed fetus, right? Then you're a newborn. And as you move the timeline all the way to 30 years of age, you will begin to notice, realize, and recognize that 50% of your stem cells turn off by the time you're 30. For each decade of life, it's like 50% turn off, 60, 70, 80. By the time you reach 60 years of age, 90% of those stem cells turn off. Not because they're damaged, destroyed, or disappear. They simply go dormant. That's it. They just go to sleep. They're dormant until, that is, you apply a stem cell activation patch like you see here on my wrist. You also see one right here on my chest, right under my throat. So think about the human body. Just play pretend, make believe that your body is a house. And if you look inside your body, your stem cells are like printer ink cartridges. And when you have brand new ink cartridges, just like when you were conceived in your mother's womb, you have 100% of your stem cells working to activate, right? And to repair and to regenerate and to multiply and to actually build you into an embryo, into a being, right? So when you have 100% of your ink and you go to make a color copy, the color copy is indistinguishable from the original. But when you've used up 70, 80, 90% of your original ink, you only have 20 or 10% left. Now that copy is a faded version of the original. The same thing is true when you only have 20% or 10% left of your stem cells. And so that makes us wonder, how do these patches actually work? It's a phenomenal question, wouldn't you agree? So the way the patches work is I want you to touch your face. If you touch your face, you're going to feel warmth. You touch your neck, it's warm. You touch your arm, you're going to feel warmth. That is evidence of the temperature that you have inside your body. If you were to take a thermometer, it would be 98.6. Some people are cooler, some people are hotter, right? But about 98.6, 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit. That is because you have electrons and electrolytes. Those are packets of electricity. You have electrons in every cell of the body and every molecule of your body. And in your bloodstream, you have electrolytes, both of which are packets of electricity. Electricity is light, which is rich in nutrients and information, and that's what fuels your body. So this is reflecting and showing back to you what the ancients have known for thousands of years, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago. The Taoists 5,000 years ago knew that we were light beings. The Jewish mystics, the Kabbalists knew that. Christian mystics, et cetera, et cetera. They've known that we're light beings, but science is the contemporary language of mysticism. Science is only 300 years old. And in those 300 years, we now have devices like a spectrograph here, that it can measure the joules of energy that you have in your hand. And you can see here from this picture, you could see the electricity and the energy. This is actually infrared light, is the light band that you have inside of your body. No different than the sun, which is 42% infrared light. In fact, I have a BioWell machine where I can measure the joules of energy on each finger of your hand to determine what the joules of energy are for every organ of the body and organ system. And it'll tell me if the joules of energy, if it's too high or if it's too low. You're supposed to be in that sweet spot in the middle. Being out of balance, too high or too low, is equally not beneficial. It's just like being underweight or overweight. You want to be in that sweet spot. And so this is evidence of that infrared light. And the way the patches work, they activate. So looking at the mother cell activation patch, by the way, this little envelope is called a sleeve. It's a specialized envelope to hold 30 patches in each one of these. The moment you apply one of these onto your skin, just like this, that activates immediately GHKCU copper peptide that activates your P63 protein. So I want you to think about a diamond crystal. And if I were to take a flashlight and shine it on a diamond crystal, you would see that the light source, just like your body is the light source for the patch, that light source is the flashlight, right? And it's going to shine a light on the diamond crystal. The crystal is behaving like a mirror. It reflects back the different light bands back to you, and we are able to witness all the different colors of the prism in that light band, right? And so I want you to think about the fact that while phototherapy has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, these patches have been specifically developed to mirror back, reflect back light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patch has been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release, which means tiny little particles, gas emissions, ultraviolet, infrared, near-infrared, and visible spectrums of light. This then stimulates that particular area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. So variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years, and in that time, there's been little evidence of any negative side effects. So this suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. This slide right here that you see, I literally cut that out of one of the scientific research studies and thought that it was valuable enough to share with you so that you became aware, notice, realize, and recognize that it's been over 100 years that we've been using photobiomodulation in the scientific community and the medical community. So the very first documented case of using photobiomodulation was in 1895. In 1903, in fact, Niels Ryberg-Finsen won the Nobel Prize for his research on using red light to treat tuberculosis of the skin. Think about that. We are in 2024 as of this live broadcast. 1895, that wasn't in the 19th century. We are in 2000, the first quarter of the 2000 millennial century. This was 1895, well over 120 years ago, right? And already he won a Nobel Prize for treating tuberculosis of the skin. And in his experiments with mice, Feinstein found that exposing them to red light reduced both their symptoms as well as their mortality rate from lupus vulgaris. So he was able to increase the lifespan, the vitality of those mice from using red light, which we're infrared light, right? So I want you to notice that these are non-transdermal, non-invasive. So this little patch, non-transdermal, what does that really mean, right? Non-transdermal, nothing transfers into the dermis. This dermis being skin. We have epidermis, middermis, we have various layers of skin, and then we have the skin tissue, which is on the inside of our body. So nothing transfers, nothing penetrates the skin. Non-invasive, nothing is invading the skin. They're organic, holistic, FDA compliant class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. That is a very large, broad spectrum category. It's the general wellness category. We manufacture our products, in fact, at FDA-registered facilities in the US, and our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. We actually manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device, and in fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485 compliant. That's a quality standard. I did mention before at the beginning of this broadcast that we are inspected every 2 years. Our facilities are inspected because they are FDA registered facilities, and we are primo with them, surgically precisely in great shape. And in 82 countries, by the way, which is no small feat. Super important to know, it's very important that you drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. Now, if you're not sure that this is a big deal, I would never tell you what to do. Everybody is a grown-up, everybody has their own free will. You can do whatever it is that you want. However, we've all known, first of all, in the athletic community, in the Olympic athletes, peak performance, trainers, marathon runners, bicyclists, gymnasts. I mean, it's endless. Football players, soccer players, in the general wellness category and health and wellness professionals. We know that the basis of your establishing and maintaining your health requires you to have proper hydration, 50% of your weight in fluid ounces of water from the time you get up until you go to sleep. Now, if you're not sure that this is a big deal, let me tell you, my friends and gems, it is a big deal. There is a price to pay either way. Pay the price and get the benefit, pay the price, don't pay the proper price, and then, of course, you're going to get the consequence. But when we come out of our mother's womb, you were in an amniotic sac where you were surrounded by fluid. You were actually swimming in that amniotic fluid. And babies come out pretty juicy. They're about 82% water, right? Fast forward the timeline to the average adult. In the United States, the average adult is about 65% water. A 60-year-old in America is about 55% water, while all along from conception until whatever age you are right now, you could be 100 years old or 160 years old. There's a lady in Northern California, just learned last week, she just turned 116 years old. Her DNA, my DNA, a baby's DNA, 92% water composition. Water is the primary structure that holds up your DNA. It's only 8% that's other. No wonder when I reveal to you what happens when you're dehydrated, I think you will be very alarmed, and it'll probably bring you a greater awareness of how important it is to actually measure out your water and drink at least 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water daily. At 2%, you will feel thirst in your mouth. That's signaling 2% dehydration. I want you to think about your DNA is still 92% water. Your brain is very hydrophilic, which simply means very, very water-loving. A lot of things in your body, even the unmentionables, shrink when you are dehydrated. And there are things that don't work properly in the body when you are dehydrated. So at 2% dehydration, you feel parched in your mouth. Your brain begins to shrink. Your brain is supposed to be 75% or more water. A lot of people get headaches simply because they're not properly hydrated. The other thing is, when you're not properly hydrated, the proteins, I mentioned that the P63 protein, when GHKCU copper peptide is activated, the moment this touches your skin, the P63 protein is activated. And if you're not properly hydrated, guess what happens to the proteins? They fold. They actually fold in half. When they fold in half, they don't work properly. They interrupt something inside the body called the Krebs cycle, which you don't need to remember about the Krebs cycle. If you choose to, you can go Google that and learn a little bit about what the Krebs cycle does in the body. But that's the beginning of disease, because you're going to start to manifest certain symptoms in your body, and you're going to also start to have the breakdown of different organ systems of the body. And that's the beginning and the genesis of disease, syndromes, conditions that you will run to your doctor to get diagnosed to find out what's wrong. And a lot of this can be remedied through proper hydration, which is foundational, because 92% of your DNA, the building structure of your body, is made of water. Check out what happens when you get to 8% dehydration. This is someone who is properly hydrated. So you'll notice the integrity of the helix. It's got a proper structure. This person, on the other hand, has 8% dehydration and their DNA is unraveling. That's right. I think you should be horrified. I was horrified when I first learned about this years ago. Your DNA unravels. It starts to fall apart when you are just 8% dehydrated. So now your proteins are folded. Now your DNA is starting to crumble because what happens is the telomeres, at the end of your DNA strands, you have telomere lengths. And those telomeres have little boot socks. That myelin sheath that covers the end of your telomeres, it starts to disintegrate. And then the telomeres, the end of them, they start to break off. The shorter those telomeres break off to, the less lifespan you have left as that thing starts to unravel and fall apart. 10% dehydration, you lose your mind. The brain cannot function. You cannot think. You cannot process. You cannot recall, let alone store anything in the brain. At 12% dehydration, hard body shutdown. Game over. Too bad, so sad. You're dead. Why? Because inside your body, everything is like cement. Nothing can move. So it's very important to keep hydrated. You want to apply the patch, be properly hydrated so that you have your bloodstream. You don't have sticky blood where your stem cells go, oh, she needs a cell for her heart. She needs another one for her eye. Oh, she needs one in her liver. If you're dehydrated, it'll create the cell and it'll immediately hit a mosh pit. It's like quicksand where it's just going to start stacking up. One cell over another cell over another cell. It can't get to where it needs to go because it doesn't have proper hydration. You want that river of change, that river of information and nutrients to get to where it needs to go. And that can only happen when you're drinking enough water. All right. So a 150-pound person, that would be divided by 2. That's 75 ounces of water, which is the equivalent of 2.2 liters of water a day. For those of you who like to drink Arrowhead or Sparklets, Pana, Aquafina, whatever, pick whatever brand. I'm not saying that you have to pick a brand. You can have filtered water or have bottled water, delivered to your home. You have to have good quality water, not tap water. And the thing to know that 5 of those water bottles, they're about 15.9 ounces each. So that's 5 of those a day for somebody who's 150 pounds, just to give you an idea of the measurement of water that you need. Very, very doable. Okay. Oh, by the way, how often are you going to wear these patches? Well, you're not going to just wear this one patch 24/7 for the next 365. No, no, no. We got to honor the circadian rhythms of the body, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. So for 12 hours, let's say these are day patches. So you're going to primarily wear these during the day. So for the first 12 hours of the day, after you've gotten up, you've gone to the bathroom, brushed your teeth, showered, got yourself ready, you're all nice and dry. You can wear these patches through swimming, by the way. Some people will put them on before they take a shower or a bath. I prefer to put them on after I've taken a bath or a shower in the morning. Some people don't shower or bathe till the evening. Doesn't matter. Thing is, you're going to be consistent every morning, just like you eat breakfast at about the same time every morning. You want to make sure that you're putting your patches on same 12 hours roughly every day. So let's say that's 9 a.m. for you. So 9 a.m., you have your little alarm. You have them set to the left of your counter. So because you read left to right, right? Grab your toothbrush. You're going to see your patches. You're going to apply your patches once you're all dry and ready. For 12 hours, you're going to be signaling your body where the light switch is on. Let's say you're 60 years old or older. Instead of 10% of your stem cells doing this rapid repair, now you're going to have almost the equivalent of a 30-year-old. You're going to have 43 to 50% of those stem cells that are going to do this remodeling job inside and out, front to back, top to bottom, left to right of your body, to give you this rapid cellular repair and restoration. 12 hours later, your alarm will go off on your phone because it says remove patches. Now you go ahead, you remove your patches, you discard them. You're going to match the 12 hours that you signaled with the rest and digest of your parasympathetic system. So now it's rest, repair, and restore from sunset to sunrise the next morning. Does that make sense? Okay, the bottom right here, I just want to point out, you can probably see this. Maybe I should make this a little bit bigger for the people who are actually seeing this on a cell phone. But here it's just simply showing you that when you put your patches on, in this particular case, you can wear more than one patch at a time. And it's just showing you that you can have the patches where the adhesive part. You're overlapping the adhesive and you're maintaining the integrity of the signaling with the crystal because you want the entire crystal to touch your skin to signal whatever this patch does for your body. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so let me share with you, this is Dr. John Harmon, and when he first came to us a few years back, he had two big issues that were really a big deal. First thing was he had a right bundle branch blockage of the heart, very serious. He went to not one, not two, but three cardiologists. Those three cardiologists diagnosed him with the same thing. They said, oh boy, you have a right bundle branch blockage. It's inoperable. You're going to have to be on heart meds for the remainder of your life. And this is going to affect your longevity because of this condition that, we're going to try and manage it as well as we can with heart meds, but this is not usually a condition that improves. And then the other thing that he had that was an issue was his right knee was like a polished knob, and he had a lot of knee pain. So he got started on the patches. Prior to that, he was like, there's something. Surely, he was already into things that were organic and holistic, originally trained as a chiropractor, has a clinic back east where he does QEEG scans. He treats people with brain traumas and so forth. And so he thought, surely there has to be something organic and holistic that I can do to fix myself, right? And that's when the patch came into his experience. He began the journey to apply the patch every day to signal his body for cellular repair. And in the first several months, the knee pain completely disappeared. The other thing, he started having this rejuvenation aspect that took place, and you can clearly see this is what he looked like when he started. Because your stem cells, they're going to repair any damaged cells inside and outside of your body. So as this cellular repair was taking place on the inside, it was also taking place on the outside of the body. So 14 months later, you can see that the skin that he had that had fine lines and wrinkles that I could easily play tic-tac-toe because he had a 111 between his two brows. He had thinning eyebrows with just a sprinkle of brown hair, had lots of inflammation you can tell from around his eyes, and definitely very defined lines around his face. Well, and then of course he had gray hair. 14 months later, his skin is much more rejuvenated. The fine lines and wrinkles disappear. The eyebrows kind of filled in, and his original hair color grew back. And what's most exciting about this was that at the 14th month, all three cardiologists were all astonished, saying, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen anyone have a right bundle branch blockage disappear. Didn't even know, I've never even read about the possibility that that would exist for anyone. So to say that he was extremely thrilled is an understatement. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but your fibroblasts, they begin to decline at the age of 25 in their production of collagen. Collagen is the #1 building block protein of the body, as you're already aware. We talked about how this patch activates the P63 protein. It's no wonder if your collagen is already starting to decline at age 25, it's not that surprising to see that at age 30 now, 50% of your stem cells have already just gone to sleep. Now, this is one of my friends, Barry, who, when he started on the patches, he had really bad long haulers, really, really bad. And he lives in Canada. And when he started on the patches, he had been suffering from horrible insomnia, headaches, body aches, chills, low stamina, and terrible fatigue. And he would wake up every morning with headaches and nausea. And so when we started him on the patches, he received them on the 23rd of June. And I said, Barry, normally we would start you first thing in the morning, but because you have not slept, everything he tried to help him sleep, nothing worked. Nothing worked. He had a bear of a time. And when you are ill, just as a general wellness thing, you have to sleep well. But when you're ill, that's the most restorative time for your body is when you're in that deep sleep. And he couldn't sleep. So I said, we need to get you a good night's sleep. And the patches, the mother stem cell activation patches, studies show that it puts you in deep REM sleep. So it was between 3 and 5 o'clock that June 23rd. And so he sent me this text message the very next day because I told him we're going to get you started now. So 24 hours from now, I want you to report back to me what you're feeling, what your sleep was like, and so forth. So the very next day, I get this text message and it says, "Hey, Lillian, just a note, don't know if it's a placebo or if the stem cell activation patches work that quick or what. But I had really good sleep, a little better sleep than other nights. I fell asleep quicker. Today, I'm just on a high. I'm ecstatic. And Gwen sees that in me. And I feel really, really good physically when I awoke this morning. No headache, no nausea. Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal day. So thank you, and I'll update you as we go along. Hope all is well. Thanks. Bye." So when I got that next day, I was just on cloud nine. I was like, just like a little kid under the Christmas tree going, wee, wee, wee. It's like, my gosh, this surprising new gift is like the best thing ever, right? So that is my friend Barry, and he continues to wear the patches today with marked improvement as he goes along. Kathy McCarthy, my goodness, this is a friend of mine that lives in Nevada, and she's a professional, world-breaking world-breaking skydiver, and she was suffering with autoimmune disorder for 33 years from 3 breast implants, and she had a lot of symptoms and aches and pains from that. And she also had a lot of wrinkling. She spends a lot of time in the sun because she's always doing these skydiving formations with her team, daytime and nighttime. And so when she started at the age of 62, January 2022, she started on the patches, and you can see her neck and her chest. And you could see the dramatic improvement from January to March. By June, she had no wrinkles anymore, just a little evidence of the lines. July, no fine lines or wrinkles, and she would not take pictures of her face. When we started her, she was advised to take a picture before she started on the patches and every 30 days after. So October of 2022, she shared these 4 pictures on her Facebook, and that's when I reached out to her. I went ahead and shared it on my Facebook, and I said, "Hey," I was on a call just like I'm here with you guys. And I said, "Hey, Kathy, would you come on? I would like to have you on a Zoom that I'll broadcast to YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and so forth. I want people to see your story, soup to nuts, hear the whole thing. And I want them to see that your face and your neck actually match these 4 pictures. And oh, by the way, would you give me a profile picture?" And she said no to the profile picture. She's like, "Nope, I just don't take pictures of my face. I don't do profile shots. I'll do the Zoom all day long and you can post it everywhere. I don't care." I said, "Great." I go, "Because I'm posting this now to Facebook, and my friends, my sphere of influence, they know I'm not going to put something that's not legit. But they're going to share it to their profile. Friends of friends are going to see it. And if I were friends of friends, I would go, that was Photoshop. There's no way that's legit. It's just not possible, right?" And so I want people to see the Zoom, because in the Zoom video, I can't alter like my skin color or my hair color. I can't add curls, take away curls, can't make my eyes lighter or darker, can't do any of those things. It's all a real live broadcast. And people will see that her face actually matches. Her face, her neck, her chest match the pictures. And so that came to pass. You can watch that on my YouTube channel, which I'll show you the name of the channel at the end of the broadcast. So here, as we stand here, as we are watching this broadcast, you are being hosted by someone who had, I no longer have, but I did have brain damage. I had lost 100% of my short-term memory because I was hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride in 2017. And so for those 5 years, the first 2 of those 5 years, I had no short-term memory, none. So the repatterning of the brain that I do on others to get them their memory back, to heal and repair their bodies from physical and emotional trauma, I had to do on myself once I realized that I had that hurdle to overcome, as well as this long list of all these different neurological conditions that happen when you have brain damage. Your brain doesn't work properly, the systems don't work properly. So I had blurry vision, I had super loud tinnitus, I had terrible pain, my neck, my lower back. I had an incision, I had a laceration from my ankle to my knee, right on my shin bone. Took over a year for it to close and to heal. So long story short, you can watch on YouTube my story of my before and after. The bottom line is that all of that, like a nice little Christmas gift with a little wrapped bow, by the 14th month, not only did I lost 50% of my hair, I got my hair growth back. I still have growing hair up here that I still have like tufts of hair. Sometimes I get on these broadcasts. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to get that hair to come down. But my hair was dry, coarse, and brittle. All the product that I would use and so much hair loss. And I had a bald spot the size of my palm on the back, because that's the point of impact. I was hit on the lower left side of my head as well as my back. And by the 4th month, I had 70% hair growth. All the regenerative medicine compound pharmacy formulas that I had been given, none of them had worked until I got started on these patches. And my memory in the first 4 weeks, it was like an exponential increase where my memory was better than it ever has been before. Really quite monumental, where I can now, for example, some of the mind games or the memory games that I play to just prove to myself that my memory is even better than it was before. I'll pull up things like, okay, what is pi 11 digits to the right of the decimal point? So I'm going to close my eyes out just for those of you who want to type it in your Google browsers, you can see. Pi is, and I just pulled it up once. I wrote it on a blank 3x5 card, just like this. I wrote it down, turned it over, and then I was able to recite it, and I've been doing it ever since. And that's 3.1415926535 That's 11 digits to the right. I could not do that before, and it was effortless, which is so astonishing. So let's talk about the mother cell activation patch. And oh, by the way, your brain processing speed, which is the speed with which you can memorize, remember, and recall things so that you can recite them, just continues to get better as you continue to wear the patches. It really is amazing. So this mother activation patch activates a third of your previously dormant genes. It turns them back on to reset a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state by activating GHKCU copper peptide inside of your body. That's already in there. This doesn't have GHKCU, okay? Regenerates cells, replacing damaged cells. Restores collagen, because that's the #1 building block protein of the body. Rebuilds scar tissue by replacing it with the original tissue. So for me, for my leg injury, I had a nasty scar from my ankle to my knee. It was purplish, it was raised, and the bone, the way it healed was kind of a wavy bone. Instead of having a nice smooth shin bone, it was all wiggly and a nasty, ugly scar. Over the next 4, 5, 6 months, I noticed that the first thing that happened was that the scar went flat. And in the first 4 months, the bone filled in where it was nice and smooth. And then that scar just started shrinking, and it went from a dark brown to a lighter brown to a tan to a lighter tan. And it just kept on shrinking to before I knew it, it was like dashes on my shin to it just kept on fading and fading lighter and lighter, where you can barely tell now. It's still not 100% matching my left, but it's I only probably have 1 or 2% more so that it's totally done. How long will it take? I don't know. It'll happen when it happens. There were so many much more serious things that were going on in my body that my stem cells had to repair, that I'm cool with it. As long as you're progressing, that's improvement, that's happiness. Does that make sense? So reduces fine lines and wrinkles. I was ignorant of the fact that I even had wrinkles. I look at my picture. You can probably see here now that I did have wrinkles here on both sides of my eyes. I didn't know I had hooded eyes, but in comparison, you can see that hooded eyes here, but I don't have, look at how it's shrunk. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't notice that until I put this picture together side by side, 14 months apart. I'm wearing the same top, basically the same lighting, and you can clearly see an improvement in the eye tissue, and I don't have the wrinkles on both sides here. Again, I was unaware. And then my hair after 4 months became smooth, soft, and silky, and I don't have to put product in my hair like I did before, which is so nice. Increased energy. You increase energy because when you have 33% additional stem cells, you're going to have a boost in energy, increase in sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. If you have pain, you'll have pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes of anywhere from 50 to 100%. Like myself, improved hair growth. We see plenty of people who have been gray, who now have their original hair color come back. Like one of my friends named Chris, who we started him the 4th of July. I'll show you a picture of him in a little bit here. And you also have improved deeper, sounder sleep because you go into a REM state of sleep. This patch also increases your glutathione levels, your natural glutathione levels, by as much as 30% by wearing this patch alone. You're going to apply these patches. We're going to recommend a true plan of action using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to actually magnify the effects of the patches on the body. And make this bigger so that you guys can actually see this, because I think this is too small for you to see it on cell phones and so forth. So that's governing vessel 14. That's what you see right here. This red arrow is pointing to that neck bump. Just take your dominant hand, touch the back of your neck, the base of your neck, the top of your spine. That's governing vessel 14, where your brainstem branches out into your spinal column to signal your entire body. Very, very powerful acupuncture point. That's why it's called governing vessel, right? The other spot that we had the research subjects where the patches was just 3 finger widths below the belly button on the conception vessel. We have people who sometimes can't reach back there. They have shoulder blade issues. They have rotator cuff issues, elbow issues. They simply cannot reach back there. So the patches work all over the body, wherever you have skin, even on top of your hair, it works. In fact, right at the apex of your head, you have your bliss point. Great acupuncture point for all sorts of things. But it works under your feet, on your hair. As soon as you apply this patch, it goes up to 4 inches deep, remember, into your body, all the way down through the bones into the bone marrow. Very, very precise, because it's your own infrared light being mirrored right back in. So let's talk next. That's the mother. We're going to think of this as the foundation, the flooring, the foundation of your home. The next one's going to be like your bearing wall. And that's the daughter stem cell activation patch. Totally different function from the mother. That's going to protect you against radiation poisoning relief. It's going to increase lean muscle mass, bone density, muscle mass and strength, increase your energy, your focus, your cardiovascular function, protects from EMF, 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, from TSA scanners at the airport, X-ray machines, CAT scans, MRIs, any kind of scan or treatment that you might be subjected to, not to mention environmentals that you might have, including reducing belly fat. And if you have osteoporosis, this actually increases bone density. If you have osteoporosis, that will disappear. Osteoporosis isn't an illness, it's not a sickness. All mammals, human and every quadruped, any animal on all fours, cats, dogs, horses, goats, cows, all of them, no exceptions. All mammals, as we age, we suffer a loss in lean muscle mass, and we also suffer porosity of the bones. The bones become more porous. So osteoporosis is just, the word osteo comes from the Latin word osteo, which means bone. Porosis just means porosity, that it's porous. So it's describing bone porous. That's all that is. So this will offset and unring the bell of osteoporosis by increasing your bone density. Personal story here. My mother, last August, not even 6 months ago, in August, she has lived in her house for 37 years since I was a kid. And my mother has gone up and down these stairs for 37 years. She lives in a tri-level home, main level, all tile. Then you go downstairs to the family room. You've got some wooden stairs to go down there, and there's tile down there. The bedrooms are all upstairs. Well, she was going down the stairs and she twisted her right ankle. My mother's over 80 years old. In fact, she's 87. She's going to be 88 next week, as a matter of fact. She twisted her right ankle. Now, most of you know what happens to most people over 70 or 80 years of age if they trip on their own feet and fall, let alone if they fall with 3 stairs, to finish before they hit the ground, right? Most of them will break a hip and an arm. Usually it's a multiple, sometimes they break both hips or both hips and an arm. I've even known people to break both arms, like both wrists and an arm and a hip. Miserable. Just depends on how bad their osteoporosis is. My mother had been diagnosed with osteoporosis 5 years ago, almost 6, actually. She had been on the patches for 10 months, on the Fantastic Five. She fell, landed on her left shin. So now she has a twisted ankle and a left shin. Would you believe that she did not break a single bone in that accident? Not a single bone, but she's been on the patches for 10 months. My mother-in-law, who is not on the patches, was walking on the front sidewalk in December, and she just tripped on her own feet on the sidewalk, and she broke her wrist. And she had to be put in a home after that incident. My mother, on the other hand, is completely fine. It still took her a couple months to recuperate from the massive blood. She didn't have a blood clot, but she did have a blood bubble on that left shin. And of course, she had a lot of inflammation on both, more on her left leg that she landed on. She's petite. She's only about 100 pounds. So she landed on that left leg, but it's amazing. She did not break any bone, not even a hairline fracture. And so that is a testament to what cellular activation of your stem cells can do with this life-saving technology. You just have to drink the water and put them on every day. And we did get her, she was pain-free within 24 hours of that accident. And we simply had her wearing the patches. You can wear the Ice Wave patch 24 hours a day for the first 60 days. That's what the research studies show. And this patch has a therapeutic effect, but it is more powerful than hospital-grade morphine, and it turns off your pain receptors. Very powerful patch. All right. So now we're going to talk about the other 3 patches. So we had the mother, the daughter, so the foundation and your bearing wall of your house, right? And the next 3 patches, those are going to be make-believe. If I was an octopus, I would be able to hold up one here, one there, but I'm not an octopus. I'm a human, so I only have 2 hands. So we're just going to set these 2 down. And glutathione, carnosine, and eon, this makes up our Y-age system. Why age when you can reverse age, right? So, oh, by the way, remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. So glutathione, these 3 master antioxidants. A lot of people have never heard of these master antioxidants. The thing about master antioxidants is that you can't really take them orally because you have 0 benefit from taking oral supplementation of glutathione, because the moment the glutathione supplement hits your stomach, the hydrochloric acid totally kills the glutathione. And so nothing is absorbed into the stomach lining to go into your bloodstream. Nothing is digested because it's dead before it gets anywhere. So that's kind of a waste. The only 2 options you have is your natural original glutathione. You turn it back on 300 to 600% within 24 hours of your wearing this patch. And you're going to be signaling your body for 12 hours every day to boost your detoxification system, and your immune system is going to be elevated. So you have protection against germs, viruses, or bacteria. It's also a radioprotector against DNA damage. It improves your skin appearance and helps promote relaxation and reduce stress. Very, very, very important master antioxidant when it comes to anything neurological. That refers to not only the brain, but the whole nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. Anybody with any kind of neurological type of presentation usually has a deficiency, very little or no glutathione. So people with Alzheimer's, dementia, again, we don't make any medical claims, but we have research studies that show that people who have compromises in cognitive function, people with traumatic brain injuries like myself, I wore all 5 of these patches. I actually wore these and a neuro patch that we'll talk about some other time. Glutathione, super, super important for healthy brain function, nerve activity inside the body. So that's glutathione. So the next one that I'm going to share with you is carnosine. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to share with you what the research studies, I actually cut this out of a research study, and I thought it was significant enough to share with you, because if you have any issue with any of these organs inside of the body, it's letting you know how important wearing the glutathione patches to turn on your original glutathione levels. Your brain signals the liver to manufacture glutathione. Then glutathione goes through your liver, goes to your bloodstream, and it's in every single organ of the body, every muscle of the body. All 56 trillion cells of your body are supposed to have glutathione. If you have low levels of glutathione, then you have problems. The patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of just 4 weeks produced a highly significant improvement in physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in your pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. So stated differently, all organs achieved significant cellular physiologic functional status improvement compared to a baseline with a statistical power of at least 91%. For those of you who want to read the specific study, at the end, I will give you a website, nothing for you to buy, just purely education. You can actually read that study if you would like. Next patch, carnosine. Carnosine, another magical master antioxidant of the body. The root word of carnosine is carne, which carne in Latin means flesh. It kind of goes hand in hand with like carne asada tacos, which are beef, flesh tacos, right? So carnosine, super important for the body, super important for brain function. This master antioxidant, it supports and improves, think about it, carne is flesh, has to do with muscles and your cardiovascular system. So all of the things related to your heart being the most important muscle of the body, right? It improves also healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time, strength, stamina, and endurance. Because as your muscles, you have increase in lean muscle mass and strength, you have better cardiovascular function, have more energy, your strength and your stamina just goes up. Detoxes your brain from aluminum. Total game changer. We all grew up in the United States with using toothpaste that was in an aluminum tube until 2014. All of us. That toothpaste in that aluminum tube was basically absorbing trace amounts of aluminum. And although you're not eating toothpaste, you're not swallowing it. You inadvertently sometimes swallow a little, but your intention is to spit it out. But bear in mind, you're brushing your teeth. That toothpaste is now sitting on your gums, and through your gums, you are absorbing that toothpaste and that aluminum that goes, it's right in your head. It's like right there into your brain, fast track. Kind of scary if you think about it. 2014. It wasn't until 2014 that the consumers of Tom's organic toothpaste clamored to the manufacturer and said, how can you put organic toothpaste in an aluminum tube when we've known for 25, 30 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin? That means it is a toxin to the nerves, to the brain. It causes a decline in memory, it causes a decline in your ability to learn, to remember, to focus, to just process things. And so Tom's toothpaste was the first who switched to a recyclable plastic tubing, and then all the other toothpaste manufacturers followed suit. Separate from that, you're like, well, that's the only exposure I've had. Well, not so quickly. I don't know about you, but how many times in your lifetime have you drunk a beverage, sodas, juices, beer, water out of an aluminum can? That means all that liquid has been absorbing and taking in trace amounts of aluminum, and now you drink it, you get more aluminum that way. How many of you have baked potatoes? Eaten baked potatoes that were wrapped in aluminum? Any kind of meat, any kind of food, corn on the cob, sweet potatoes, you name it, hams, turkeys, etc. How many of us have gone to an event that it was catered where you had aluminum trays covered by aluminum foil covering the top of that? Weddings, funerals, baptisms, parties of any type, Cinco de Mayo parties, you name it, right? Christmas parties, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, Father's Day, the works. How many of us brought take home from restaurants in an aluminum container? How many of us have, I already told you about the baked pies, right? How many people work in an environment where maybe you are working at a gun manufacturer, aluminum awning manufacturer? Maybe there's all sorts of different metals in your work environment where they have blades of different types and all sorts of mechanical instruments. There are many ways that you can take in aluminum, not to mention there are certain seafoods that you can eat that have high amounts of aluminum and mercury in them. Guess what? This is going to unring the bell of that damage. It's going to help you detox along with the glutathione patch, but this one will take it. It's called chelation. It pulls out the aluminum that's in your body. Very, very important. Consequently, that is going to help with wound restoration that you might have inside or out. Okay, oh, by the way, another reminder to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water a day. So the fifth of our Fantastic Five patches is the Eon patch. So glutathione, carnosine, and now Eon. This master anti-inflammatory, we love this patch because it's the anti-stress. If there's ever been happiness in a patch, the Eon patch is it. We call this the anti-stress, also the happy patch. So many people on the 21st day, I get phone calls, people it's like, today's my 21st day. Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, not only do I feel and recognize and understand that I'm feeling happier and I haven't changed anything else than I'm drinking my 50%, my fluid weight in ounces of water, and I'm putting the patches on every day. But the last 3-4 days, the last week, I've been having people telling me, what are you doing differently? Your energy's up. I can tell that you're happier. What are you doing that's different? I can tell that there's something different. And it's this patch raises your anti-neoplasms. I know most of you don't know what those are, so I'll tell you what they are in a minute, okay? But this increases your DHEA fountain of youth hormone. Total game changer. Because as you're watching this presentation, I don't care if it's a desktop, a laptop, iPad, notepad, cell phone, whatever mechanical device you're watching this broadcast on, that has blue light toxicity. You have blue light that creates blue light toxicity that increases inflammation, increases insulin resistance, and it destroys your DHEA fountain of youth hormone until you apply one of these patches on you, because that will unring the bell of that damage because it increases DHEA fountain of youth hormone. But you also get blue light toxicity, and you get this effect from LED lights. So let's say you say, well, I don't have a computer, I don't have a cell phone, an iPad, a notepad, desktop or laptop, but you still have LED lights in your house. LED lights not only in your house, all places of work environments, public places all have LED lights. LED lights, halogen lights, fluorescent lights, they all have blue band lights of photobiomodulation in the negative, which gives you the result of destroying DHEA fountain of youth hormone, increasing inflammation, and increasing insulin resistance. Think about all the electronics just in your kitchen, your refrigerator, your cappuccino maker, coffee maker, your hot water pot, your Ninja, your food processor, your microwave, your stove, all LED lights. You get into your car, 100% LED lights. You get into a plane, all LED lights. You get into a train, all LED lights. Starting to see the picture? You're bombarded with LED light toxicity everywhere you go. Unless you're wearing one of these patches, this is going to offset and unring the bell of that damage. And this patch, I love the fact that this patch, clinical studies show that it balances. When you start on the patches, your brain is out of balance. You can start to see how these patches are working in concert, creating a beautiful synergy and harmony with each other, right? So your brain is out of balance when you apply the patches. It's no wonder after 3.5, 4 weeks, my brain got into balance, as yours will too. And as you go into homeostasis, you go into this alignment where your left and your right brain are now being balanced. Guess what? It causes this calming effect because this patch, we call it the anti-stress patch, because as your adrenals, some people have adrenal fatigue from over-signaling, where you have that fight or flight response. You have too much cortisol and too much C-reactive protein. This is going to reduce your cortisol levels. It's going to reduce your C-reactive protein. So you're energized, not jittery, energized, focused, alert, awake, but you're calm and you're centered. Such an awesome state of being. And it just keeps getting better and better. So that's why we call that the happy patch. That is the Fantastic Five. Like I said, glutathione, carnosine, Eon, and then of course we have the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch. I did briefly talk about IceWave, which is the only patch we have that doesn't repair still offering a therapeutic effect by turning off pain receptors, and it pulls and pushes energy in the body, which is why it's a two-patch system. So I had a gal just last week. She got sick like 2 weeks ago. And then last week, she was telling me how she had congestion. And I told her, just take Ice Wave. First, put energy enhancer. This was the one that was originally created for the Black Ops Navy SEALs, almost 24 years ago. The patches just became available. This one became available 20 years ago this year. And the mother patch has only been out 4 years. The daughter, 2 years. And so the energy enhancer patch was originally, David Schmidt was commissioned. He was put under contract by the Department of Defense, and he invented all sorts of different energetic devices for them. And they approached him and said, listen, David, is there any chance that you could do something to enhance the energy of the Black Ops Navy SEALs? These Navy SEAL guys were giving them amphetamines, uppers, and energy drinks, and that works great. But when the effects wear out, of course, their bodies crash, and it's really hard on their bodies. Can you come up with something that's more organic and holistic that would be more effective? David being he's been inventing since he was a child. He's really a combination of Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and Steve Jobs, all wrapped in one, where he's all tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the divine. And he starts every single day in prayer and in meditation, and he gets these divine downloads. And this was the divine download because this did not exist. Stem cell activation did not exist at the time. And that's when he invented this. And then the rest was history. And it was only, and I had friends who were in the Navy at the time, and they're like, they heard about these patches. Everybody wanted them, but it was only, not just the Navy SEALs, it was only the Black Ops Navy SEALs that had access to them. All right. So let me share with you what the anti-neoplastins are, because these are peptides that are found in the urine and blood of healthy people. I want you to take note of the fact that you were born, your original blueprint has the proper amount of anti-neoplastins to provide you a certain amount of protection. The research studies show that they might stimulate your immune system and prevent peptides. These peptides will prevent cancer by killing certain cancer cells because it keeps it from growing and multiplying. FYI, if you didn't know it, everybody has a certain number of cancer cells, but it's kept at bay by your anti-neoplastins until too many of your anti-neoplastins turn off, and then your cancerous cells start multiplying faster, turning into tumors and masses and all sorts of chaos in you. So in a clinical setting, they're used, the anti-neoplastins, that is, they're used to treat different types of cancers, high cholesterol, brain swelling due to infection, any kind of infection like encephalitis, meningitis, HIV, AIDS, Parkinson's disease, and other types of conditions. In a clinical setting, what they do is they take 2,000 blood donors, they centrifuge that blood, they separate out the plasma, and then they take the plasma that has the anti-neoplastins, and through IVIG is intravenous immunoglobulin therapy. So in a hospital setting, then they receive that anti-neoplastins, and then that dilutes, stops, or diverts the attack on the body. They're not really sure how this exactly works, but it is an effective thing that can be done. So I want to make sure we allot some time. We already talked about the blue light destroying your DHEA. I want to see if anybody has any questions. Dar and the other person, let me make sure. Can I answer any questions for you at this time? Before I go into cost, I want to make sure I get all your questions answered. Tess?
No, I'm good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I guess I've got a son who's got cognitive stuff and I know sort of developmental delays. So I'm looking at the mother, the X39, the Eon, and the Be Happy one. The Be Happy one and the glutathione. Yeah, but not the other one that you said that detoxes the aluminium. So, but we'll just see how that goes, I guess. And I don't know if aluminium is such a problem. It's for me more mercury and other things.
So, you know, you can always, you know, the first 30 days you start off with the patches that you have. You said you have X39, you have glutathione, right? And
yeah.
So you have those first three. So then what you could do is
Well,
for
they're in
next,
the post. They're coming. Yeah.
okay, so, because that's right, you just started, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in your first, I think, I don't know which type of pack that you ordered, but for next month, then you can experiment, you can start slowly. So you've got the mother, you've got glutathione and eon, then in the next 30 days, you can add the X49 and see how they do with that. And then you can always add carnosine and eon. Well, I think you already had eon to begin with. So you can just add one at a time over the next 30 days, and then you can see how he's responding, and you're going to see the improvement in the development. The truth of the matter is all 5 really are recommended, because if he has developmental delays, there's something that has happened either at birth, right after birth, or it could be right prior to birth that cause these issues. 9 out of 10 times, these are things that are environmental and external, that are not genetically. There's a lot of things that have been thought and people have been told that they're genetic, but if they truly were genetic, then the patches would not work. Because by definition, it's your original stem cells, which is your DNA, that's your genetic coding and mapping. Now, that being said, there are things that can turn off and turn off genetic markers inside you, but that can only come from external, something from the outside that's happening. So we do have the case of April Stewart-Vaughan, our blood specialist. Her 2 children were born with spherocytosis, a rare blood disorder. They were told that it was genetic. And Jake and Grace were 21 and 25 years old when they started. Jake was a senior in college. He was on the men's golf team, and they started in the month of May. That was 2 years ago. It'll be 3 this May. And when they started, both Jake and Grace had spent every single month of their lives in the hospital. One little thing, I mean, they had a very, very strict diet. It was like gluten-free, whey-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, peanut-free, and I think there was one other thing that they also had to, it was just very, very strict diet. And any little deviation, they ended up in the hospital with a really adverse reaction. And so can you imagine 21 to 25 years, plus when they were before the age of 10, they both had their gallbladders removed. So long story short, they got started on the patches 2 years ago. It'll be 3 years in May, 2.5 at this point. And one of the first things was that, just fast forward. So May and August, because kids get out of college in May here in the States. So in August, he went back to school. I'm going to just focus on Jake because it's easier than tracking 2-3 people. So Jake, who is 21, went back to college. And by December, when he came home for Christmas, April told him, Jake, are you still eating clean? And Jake kind of sheepishly looked at her and said, to tell you the truth, Mom, not really, because I don't really have to anymore, because I'm totally fine. I can have beer and pizza every time we have a golf tournament with the guys. They order beer and pizza, and I'm able to eat beer and pizza. And it turns out I really like Chick-fil-A. And yeah, when I can, I eat organic, but I don't really have to eat organic. My body doesn't have any issues like it used to before, so I'm totally fine. Now, what that tells us is that his original stem cells did not have the markers for spherocytosis. Because that was turned back on, he was reset and restored to his original blueprint, right? Same thing with his sister. And so something must have happened in utero, either in the last trimester, maybe right before he was born, during birth, right after birth. It happened to both of them because they both had the exact same condition. They were both born in the same city, in the same hospital. So we don't really know, but we do know that they both unrung the bell of damage, and all the ailments, all the complications, all of the things that caused them so much pain and suffering, both of them are totally fine now. In fact, Jake is now in chiropractic school. He's decided to become a chiropractor. So, so we can unring the bell of a lot of different things. And how quickly will it happen? Everybody's body's different. No one can predict that. So we all just have to put the patches on and then pay attention to what's going on in our bodies. So any other questions, Tess?
It was probably cost, and I was wondering if I could get him to wear them, and then you obviously discard them, but I was like, oh, well, is there anything maybe left in them? I'll put them on me. get the benefits?
So that's a very, very valid question, because I oftentimes have people who have young children that they need the patches and their kids need the patches, or vice versa. So I will tell you this, it's like the instructions always say 12 hours on, 12 hours off, then discard the patches, end of story. In the first 2 months that I started people on the patches, I had one young lady in particular. She had a 6-year-old son who had Asperger's. He also had some visual problems. He also had, as many kids with autism, they're on the spectrum. He had some hypersensitivity in his hearing and deficit in his seeing. And of course, couldn't focus, couldn't look you in the eye. Some of the classic Asperger symptoms. Very super smart young man, but had those issues. And of course, hyperactivity disorder. So when she would remove her patches, she would wear them because both of them had on top of that, had both been exposed to really serious black mold exposure and had a whole host of complications from that. Not to mention she had a lot of skin, like mold was actually on her skin. It was really awful, where she had to be covered basically from the neck down. So what she would do was she would wear them for 12 hours. As soon as she removed them, she would take her used patches, and then she would put the Fantastic Five on her son. And then within 3 months, he was able to look at her in the eye. He was much more clear, focused. He was actually able to, he started learning because he would hear her talking about the patches. He still does. He can basically recite his memory. Oh my gosh, it was like a bullet. Like everything that she learned, he learned at the same time. So he can tell you what each one of these patches does. He was able to also identify, I thought it was fascinating. He knew that the carnosine patch was helping restore. He said he could feel the carnosine patch was the patch that was restoring his eyesight. And that's why they thought he needed glasses before he was on the patches. And she really didn't want to put him on, getting glasses. And he didn't have to get glasses because his eyesight was so much more improved after just like 3 months of being on the patches. So
I guess it's quite a big cost. That I guess you're kind of move on to that, but it is quite a big cost, ongoing cost. So is it like once you subscribe, is there some sort of cost benefits of doing that, or?
Yeah, so let's talk about the cost aspect, because for the price of one Starbucks coffee a day, you can just get the mother, which is a 30-day supply retail. That's $5 a patch, 149 USD. Or for the price of 2, you can get the Fantastic Five. Now, we obviously can't charge you $1 million for these patches, and traditional stem cell therapy, we know that I have people that have been on that and still end up going on this and have better results with this. Because again, with this, you're signaling your body every day for the next year for 12 hours daily. With the therapies, oftentimes you have donor stem cells, which has a 50% acceptance and rejection rate. And then even for those who are using their own stem cells, if you're 40, 50, 60 years old, sometimes you don't have enough stem cells to create an effect in the body, depending on your age. So the bottom line.
So I've just got the 3. I don't know how the packages works, but I just got the mother and the Aeon and the glutathione. But
that's a great package. So that's a great package. So let me share with you. This is the Dr. Wholesale pack. So you got the silver pack. So you got the glutathione, Aeon, and carnosine, right?
Glutathione, Aeon, and
carnosine.
No, not no, glutathione, Aeon, and 39.
Yeah, 39 glutathione and Aeon.
Yeah.
You're in New Zealand or Australia?
Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah.
I know in Australia they don't have the 49. I hope in New Zealand they have the 49. So that's something we'll have to check to see if in New Zealand they have the 49 patch. But either way, with these packs, so for example, the Fantastic Five, that's you're saving basically $50 a sleeve. So this, instead of $149, it becomes $99, right?
Yeah.
So then the Fantastic Five, you're saving, instead of paying $750 for 5, you're paying $499. That's basically $100 a piece. The math becomes kind of easy at that point. Let me put these in order like this. Okay. Now, if you're willing to order 3 months in advance, then you can drop the price 50% because instead of $5 a patch, it drops down to like $2.50 a patch. So with the
Right.
diamond
So
pack,
that's probably the best. That's the best bet, isn't it? Once I know that they work,
so
then
yeah, and they work on everybody because everybody, all mammals, all humans and all animals, we all have stem cells. That's what creates and forms us. We know from blood tests for people who say, oh, I'm not feeling anything, but they go to the doctor and the doctor's like, for the first time in 14 years, your glucose level is under 470. In fact, it's under 100. It's where it's supposed to be. And then they maintain where they don't need all the insulin medication that they once needed, not to mention their blood pressure is down, their LDL or HDL, their different markers are showing, they're like, whoa, they're normal now. After 14 years of having this issue, and they're like, and then of course they're starting to feel better as well, right? So we
So
know
is it coming from America or is it coming from New Zealand?
it's going to come in from Australia probably. It depends on the distribution center for New Zealand. I don't know if Ireland distribution center or Australia. I think Australia is going to be closer to you because we have a distribution center in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are pretty close. So if you order 3 months in advance, then what they do is for each one of these, they give you a bonus. Like with the gold pack, you're paying for 5, but they're going to give you 3 additional. That's like $300 of additional free product that you would get for the same $4.99. With a diamond pack, that's 3 months. That's $4.99 times 3. That's basically $15.99. But they give you 10 to 12 free bonus sleeves. So you end up with 5 months of the Fantastic Five, or you could end up, depending on what you need, we could arrange this so that you have 6, 7, 8 months of 39 and 49, and depending on what it is, it can be customized to help you, but you'll end up with about 25, even though it says 19 here, you'll end up with about 25, 26 sleeves of patches, and then we just have to see which ones are good to tailor it to you. But then the price is like a 50% drop in price. Once you use all of those up, you don't have to buy that amount again. You can either do a subscription, which the 5 would be $329 a month for the Fantastic Five, or if you just want to buy maintenance packs where you buy 6 months at a time, 3 months, 6 months at a time, you can have your cake and eat it too because you're on a doctor wholesale pack. So you have a lot of flexibility.
Okay, cool.
And the person who enrolled you, I believe that you're in Annie Cottrell and Jody Hadsel's group. They're super well versed. There's so many scientists and doctors that are in their group. Our group is very heavy with a lot of doctors, a lot of holistic care practitioners, like multiple PhDs. Dr. Stacy has 2 PhDs, functional medicine, integrative medicine. Dr. Mel has 3, those 2 PhDs, and naturopathic medicine. We have a ton of epidemiologists, biohackers, molecular biologists. So we have a lot of knowledge. We're very heavy on the education and tailoring things to you. Because just like you can have twins and they have different thumbprints. Same thing has to do with your biochemistry. So we want to make sure we tailor everything to you and to, in this case, also to your child. So yes, use your used patches. Once you take them off your child, you can put them on. You can, if there's not enough adhesive, maybe it's not so sticky when you remove it off them, depending. You can always use like paper tape, surgical tape to make sure that they stick back on you. But yeah, you could also put them on the bottom of your feet. They still work systemically. So absolutely, yeah, that's fine. Any other questions, Tess?
No, I think, that's it. Yeah. Obviously, New Zealand dollar doesn't go as far as the American dollar, so it does get quite pricey for us over here.
And we have a great referral program so that we don't do commercials on TV. We're not allowed to do billboards and spend a lot of big traditional advertising dollars and so forth. So the company has grown this entire 20 years through all word of mouth. So the company prefers to keep the cost of the product because usually a lot of companies spend 40 to 60% of their revenue on advertising. And instead, this company will revert what they would have put towards advertising, and then they revert it back to pay it in terms of product introduction bonuses and a percentage of, like, for example, you're able right off the bat to, if somebody that you know, maybe your neighbor, your mother, your father, your cousin, your coworker, might need this life-saving technology. So then you would be able to enroll them, and you would be paid a product introduction bonus. And then let's say your neighbor's a doctor and he has a med spa or he has a clinic, then 25% of whatever volume is coming through that person's clinic or that account, you're going to be paid income off of that for as long as they're ordering. So oftentimes people find it a really easy way to not only share this life-saving technology, but also to subsidize or offset what their cost for the patches are, so that they get paid it goes into their bank account, then they order their patches, and they've earned that income where they can now, they're like, oh, okay, so it's like oftentimes in the first month, sometimes in the first week or two, they're like, wow, I told just a few people, and they're like, they're all getting started. So we get paid on a weekly cycle, but it takes about 2 weeks to get it set up at the very beginning, as soon as you have the first person that wants to get enrolled. So Jody, Annie, myself, there's plenty of people here that we can help you with that, to offset that, so that you can make sure that you have patches for as long as you need it for you and for your family. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Want to make sure that you have this site here, startx39now.com. That's the educational site. Nothing to buy here. You can, with great confidence and peace of mind, you can give this to your doctor knowing that there's a 2-minute, a 3-minute, and an 18-minute video. And then there's some testimonial reels. Some doctors are in there, and then people like you with families like yours. And then there's also the button with the scientific, all 90 scientific studies and all 120 patents are there. So that's available to you. If you want the to get started text for someone that you know that wants to, move forward with this, always get back to the person who got you started. This to get started text is just asking these questions, first, last name, where we're going to ship it to, and then where their payment information, so that we can enter it into your back office. Okay. And last but not least, to watch the replay, you can go to Love and Money Secrets TV, or just put myname.com. That URL points to my YouTube channel. This video is being broadcast live, and after we're off of here, the link is right there in my YouTube channel. I also put it in the Telegram group that you're already a part of, as well as the Evolve team, so that then you can share that with anyone that you might want to, have them educated about this life-saving information. Opportunity to get a screenshot of just the bullet points of just the mother stem cell activation. So in your mark, get set, go. Remember to get back to the person who referred you to this video. And I want to thank you for your time and attention. Have a great one tonight. And if just know that Monday through Saturday, 2 p.m., I do a 30 to 40 minute Zoom where we just go over the mother stem cell activation patch. You basically can come on every day at 2 o'clock. Any questions, patch placement, any concerns that you have, you can come on to that call. And then we go into the presentation. Sometimes I have a testimonial that someone will start off with, and then we'll kind of move from there. Okay. And then that's it. You take care, my friends and gems. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You have a wonderful day.